Hi guys, today in the kitchen I'm going to be making beef stroganoff. This particular recipe for beef stroganoff comes from Imperial Russia, and I found it on a channel that I watch here a lot on YouTube called Tasting History with Max Miller. I will put the link in the description to his original recipe. Here's everything you'll need: beef, salt, allspice, butter, flour, Dijon mustard, beef stock, mushrooms, black pepper, and sour cream. The mushrooms and the allspice are optional, but I like the way the allspice tastes in this dish, so I left it. First, cut your meat into bite-sized pieces. This recipe calls for 1.8 pounds of beef. I only had almost a pound, but I kept the other ratios the same because I like a lot of the extra sauce. Next, we're going to add the allspice and the salt. I like to use the allspice in this recipe. Some of you may not. It calls for 1 teaspoon. I'm putting half a teaspoon. Then you leave it in the refrigerator uncovered for 2 hours. I didn't have any beef broth on hand, so I just made some with this beef bouillon and water. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut up my mushrooms. These are not in the original recipe, but they are traditionally used today, and I love them. So I'm just going to quarter these and add them at the end to the sauce. Once the meat has rested, melt 6 tablespoons of butter in a deep skillet, and once it's sizzling, add the beef. Don't overcrowd the pan and cook the meat for a minute or 2 on each side. Continue with this until all the meat is cooked, and then set it aside to make your sauce. You can drain some of the butter and fat from the pan, but be sure you save the little brown bits at the bottom. Put the pan back on medium-low heat and melt the remaining butter in the pan. Once melted, add the flour and mix until smooth. Mix for about 3 to 4 minutes, stirring constantly until it is a light brown color. Next, slowly drizzle in the beef stock to make the roux. Let this cook and come together for a couple of minutes. Then you're going to add your mustard and pepper and stir until well incorporated. Once it's simmered for 2 or 3 minutes, go ahead and add your sour cream. I add like 2½ tablespoons. Now I add the mushrooms to the pan and I stir it so everything gets coated with the sauce. Then I add the meat back to the pan and I simmer that for a few more minutes before it's done. Look how thick and delicious this looks. Now it's time to serve it up and add a little bit of parsley on top for garnish. And here it is, delicious beef stroganoff from Imperial Russia. You can serve this with crusty bread, mashed potatoes, buttered noodles, or the side of your choice. Time to serve it up for a little taste test. And it's delicious, of course.